right now, live right
We're
now
live.
with Barry
We're live with Barry from Premium Edition
and Papa Pete.
and Papa Pete. Barry, how you doing?
I am busy but good. It's been a wild week. Let's just wild 2 weeks really.
I bet. There we go. We'll start this off in here in a second. What about? I was going to ask you about. Pete, what did you order? I remember you ordered something.
Raji. I got Raji coming.
Oh, Raji, nice, great game.
That's that's shipping this year.
Yes, that is shipping. We have we're just waiting for the last components for the standards and the retro to arrive at our assembly plant. The carts are there. We're just waiting for the remaining pieces. And the collector's edition is going to be slightly longer because the art book is done and it's on a freighter right now, but freight shipping, well, it's not exactly the fastest.
It is what it is, right?
Yeah, that's the sad part about that, but
at 20 knots.
Which version did you get?
I got the retro.
The retro? Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, I like getting the retro versions. I really like that. Those extras, but not so much step up. But I got all my games are retro editions so far.
Yeah, I like how uniform they all are.
Yeah.
So I was watching. I guess we'll show it here in a second, but it sounds like you guys have upped the quality again on like the sleeves.
Oh no, they actually have been slightly upgraded for Series 4, but they're the same quality. Going forward, they're just we still say like our new high quality. Like we still market that because there are still some people who may have only gotten our first few releases, and they haven't picked up anything from Series 3, 4, or 5. And we want people to know, like, hey, these are thicker quality. Like if you have Super Blood Hockey, Pigeon Dev Games Collection, Robot Named Fight, or Demon's Tier, and compare it to any of our others, it's night and day difference.
Wow.
The difference in terms of slip covers and sleeves.
Right.
Very nice. Should I? Let me go ahead and just start this up here. I think I have it queued up to the newest stuff. Aha. This game looks pretty cool.
Oh, Wife Quest? Wife Quest is amazing. So the funny thing about Wife Quest is I got this game as a review from East Asia Soft for Nintendo Fuse, which I also work with. And I played through the first 2 levels and I immediately picked up the phone and I called East Asia Soft. And I was like, is this available? Because I'd like to get some codes for the rest of the team to play this. This is so much fun. And I got codes, the rest of the team played it, and they were just like, yeah, we need to sign this game.
Oh, that's cool.
Have you done any East Asia Soft games before? I can't remember.
We did announce for PlayStation Bot Gaiden, which we actually signed after this. This was the first one we signed with them, but we do have a good partnership with them. They're wonderful people over there, and we hope to keep putting out some of their games.
Yeah, and so if people don't know, you're doing PlayStation 4, and I think you even did a PlayStation 5, right?
Yeah, PlayStation 4 and 5, that's right. Yeah, so we're super excited. This is a game. This is a retro platformer with RPG elements.
Yep.
So you get upgradable weapons, upgradable armor, and it's also like Mega Man. So every time you beat the bosses, you get their powers, and the bosses are tough. They progressively get stronger and harder. There's unlockables. It's just insane.
Wow.
Like there's when you beat a level, it gives you like all your statistics, so you can go back and 100% the level. You can go back with more powers like a Metroidvania, but you can choose the level you want. And each level is big.
I love when games give you stats, and also at the end of a level when they say, right off the bat, I still got some work to do. Because if they don't tell you, you're not really sure. You may just keep going on without even worrying about it.
Exactly, and that's one of the things where the funny part about this game also was the finishing moves, which you see in the trailer, because there's always those enemies in a platforming game that just, you know, they kill you, they knock you backwards, and you just like, oh, you know, like you're just so frustrated. This game lets you brutally finish them off if you choose to. It is 100% optional. But yeah, it is great.
Husband abduction manual.
Yeah, that was our designer Tristan did that. He does all our manuals, and like the Rack and Ruin one is called like the destruction manual instead of instruction manual. So he's always trying to figure out fun little things to do.
This game has been a blast.
I like that logo.
Everyone will love it once
Yeah.
The Pippin game.
Yeah, they're a great studio. I'm so glad that they were willing to be a part of this, and I think they're Brazilian. They we always try in all our presentations to get the developers or the publishers involved in some way. You know, let them get a voice out there, and I'm really glad that they were open to it.
Funny stuff.
Speaking of funny stuff, let's toss it over.
They are now born.
A time traveling. What now?
Hey, Barry, I forget how many directs do you do every year? Is it a spring and a fall?
It's great to be
We do between 2 and 3 a year. I mean, we've already done a State of Premium earlier this year too, so this was actually our second showcase. We pretty much do it whenever we have a new series. We want to make it a big event,
Yep.
but we don't want to go too quickly or too slow. So the next one could be summer, it could be fall. This is going to be a very crazy summer for the team. So there's a chance that we won't be able to get games out this summer because life. So instead, we're going to be doing it in the fall then. But we're always going to give the games their attention.
Now this is a NES game.
Yes. Yes, Bobby 67 is an NES game. It's an NES aftermarket game from Cal Games. The developer Clay is an awesome guy. And this is crazy. I mean, you're going through time to stop a fishman from turning all the traffic lights green. That's his big evil thing. And it great music. It plays smoothly. This is something that you would see back, you know, in the 80s, early 90s, and it would fit right at home in your NES library. And because it is an NES game, unlike games like Shovel Knight, which look like an NES game but would never run on an NES at all.
This comes with this is the cartridge.
Yeah.
You play straight on the NES, right?
Yes. Yeah, cartridge, instruction manual, and CIB box.
I like the fish's mouth is constantly doing one of these. Nice little touch.
Yeah, and this the box that it comes in is the exact size of the NES box. So if you have an NES collection, this would fit right in.
Oh, that's nice.
Manual's the same size and everything, and it's just awesome. This is our second Nintendo release because we want to, you know, we don't want to just stay with one system when there's so many great games out there.
Yeah.
But we don't want to do like re-releases. Like this is an aftermarket game. This doesn't have a physical at all. So we're bringing it out because there's so many people that don't even know there's an NES aftermarket community.
Yeah.
And you know, that's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
So what old systems is it feasible to make the old cartridges? I would guess Super Nintendo and Genesis as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and
I-
things like Dreamcast, PlayStation, but some of the newer systems need like modded. You know, like you need to have like a modded system to play them.
Yeah.
Like Saturn, like you could do with Saturn, but it needs to be a modded system. This doesn't need a modded NES. This is you put it in the pin connectors, you know, will connect and just read it.
Nice.
So I like.
Evan, what's where'd the name come from?
I don't know. Clay never told me. So it's funny, but yeah, the full name is Bobby 67 Time Traveling Detective.
Has this ever released anywhere?
Just digitally.
Digitally? Okay.
Just a digital NES ROM to play in an emulator. But
Yeah.
we played it and we're like, this is great. And, you know, so would you like to bring this out physically for physical NES? And yeah, absolutely. So we were able to work with him. Yeah, he's a
You get
great
many
guy.
people that say no. I just don't want to do it. I mean,
There
it
are
seems
some
like that'd be a dream for everybody.
You know what? Yes, but I'm sure there are some people out there that will be not wanting it, you know?
These will be on our website.
I mean, I don't know why. do you want your game preserved physically and some extra money?
Really.
Like, yeah. But we're happy to be able to do this, and Ore Body was such a success for us, Ore Body Binder's Tale, that we reprinted it, and that we're waiting for the reprints to come in. So we're gonna do a pre-order on this, and we'll see how it goes. And the nice thing about Nintendo is there isn't a minimum.
It's seriously
So, like, this isn't like, oh, you have to do 1,000 copies, because no, we don't. We could do 100, we could do 200. So it's one of those where we still get emails today like, I missed Ore Body Binder's Tale. Is there any way I could get it? And we're like, well, we might do a third print. So if you're into aftermarket NES stuff, don't delay. Like, this pre-order goes up in 4 weeks, so make sure to get it in, because it's so awesome.
Is that when all the pre-orders go up in 4 weeks for all the games being
No.
shown? This is one?
Like Wife Quest is up in 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
We're doing it every other week now.
Okay.
Because we wanted to break up, but they overlap. But we wanted to do it that way because we discovered that when we did it all in one day, first off, it's a lot. Second off, we do all in one day, and then we get, like, the site traffic goes down because there's less of an interest to come back to the site. And we have a lot of in-stock items that we absolutely want people to be able to enjoy. So we do it every other week this time with the ability to overlap. And we do mega packs now, so you can just buy everything in one click still. And yeah, so that's how we're doing.
There's Poglings.
There's Poglings. This is up right now.
Oh, you can pre-order now.
This is
it's a Kickstarter, right?
It's a Kickstarter, yep. So this is a Kickstarter. Yep. And this is from Chad Tronic. This is his dream game, and we're happy to be working with him to bring it physically. So there's a Kickstarter exclusive version that's going to have a Kickstarter exclusive slipcover. That is available for pre-order only through the Kickstarter. And we're doing plushes. And the yellow Pogling plush is also exclusive to the Kickstarter. There he is right there. So if you want to get him, you have to go through the Kickstarter. Now, after the Kickstarter, once the game is done, and ready to go, we will be putting up a regular version and a retro version of our own, as well as plushies of different colors on our website for order. So that's another option for variant hunters that want multiple. But the Kickstarter is already like over 6 times the asking price. Like, it's only 9 days in. It's doing extremely well.
I was looking at it last night. They said they were fully funded in 50 minutes.
50 minutes, yep.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I was telling Pete beforehand, this game has been popping up on like my Instagram feed constantly for a Kickstarter. Ever since they put it up, it's kind of fun. I mean, man, this game is so well polished. I mean, just look at this, how well done it is.
Yeah, so this is like the Chow Gardens from Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. So if you ever played those games, you get to raise your Poglings, you get to race your Poglings, which they're showing now. Go on adventures. There's some Animal Crossing-esque stuff, some Zelda-esque stuff. It's a very chill, relaxed game. It's not like super stressful, but you could breed your Poglings, so you can kind of try and get the best one. If you ever play like Final Fantasy VII, the big Chocobo breeding was a thing there. It's like that too. So, there's so many different colors and styles and shapes, and it's like infinite.
How big of a studio is this that made this game? Because it looks like a really high-end game here.
I think it's like 10 or so members. That's on the Kickstarter. There's all of them there. They're right now doing a great job with this, and yeah, we're really happy to be bringing this out physically, because I know this was a dream, and we were talking with Chad, and we're like, we really love to be working with you on this, and physicals help Kickstarters as well. A lot of I don't back Kickstarters for digital only games, and I know a lot of other collectors don't either. So we were able to make it happen, and we're really happy to be able to do that.
And Chad Tronic's a YouTuber, correct?
Yes, he is a YouTuber. I think he's with Risky Boots or Normal Boots or whatever it is. And yeah, so this is what he wanted to do. He's been working on it privately for 5 years, and it's now coming out. I think it's 60% done. So they're really close, but they're adding a bunch with the stretch goals.
I really like that logo.
It's a really cool
That's
logo.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's him. We can take credit for that. That is him. This is his baby.
Every time I see a character in a game with a big egg, I think of Billy Hatcher.
People have made that that comparison already. Which Billy Hatcher came out the same time from Sonic Team as Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Like it was right after Sonic Adventure 2. I think it was Yuji Naka's next game, and so it's that era of Sega for sure.
That was a great era for Sega.
Yeah, that was a great era. Then then we won't talk about where they went after that.
It's like Fight Club. We won't talk.
But yeah, so like I said, if there's still 21 days left of this Kickstarter, if you want that Kickstarter exclusive, make sure to get your order in. I don't know if there's going to be a backer kit. There probably won't be a backer kit. I mean, who knows? We're not in charge of the Kickstarter. Pretty much, Chad just tells us how many Kickstarter editions we need to produce, and we're going to produce that plus a little bit extra for damages. And the rest of the order is going to be our version, and therefore we're going to have 2 versions. So we haven't even announced what's in the retro edition. We haven't announced, we haven't shown any covers because none of that exists yet. We don't work on games until they're ready to go. So we all we have is the mock-up, and that is a mock-up. That might not be the real cover.
On the Kickstarter, I didn't notice. Is there a like a launch date? They don't have anything listed for that. Okay.
My guess, and I can tell you, is next year. That's the plan. Like I said, they're at 60% done. But as they're adding stuff with stretch goals, that could extend it, because if they add new content that they weren't planning on developing, they're going to have to develop it. Here's our little pop-up scare we did. That was all Tristan.
I think we talked about these 2 games on the last show.
Yeah, so we've talked about Sunshine for a while now.
Because that was a Kickstarter as well.
Yep, that was in 2020. We did the Kickstarter. And people ask us almost every day, when is Sunshine coming out? And we tell them whenever it's ported. So it was a successful Kickstarter. The games are done. The games are available on Steam. They're ported to Switch. But Fossil Games, is doing the final little touch on it before they release them. And once they release them and bugs are done and running smoothly, then we'll begin to take orders for it. Because we don't want to take orders now, because if the game, like if the port sucks and they decide to scrap it,
Right.
then we want people's money and we have to pay back people. We'd rather wait and make sure it's good. And all the money from the Kickstarter of that all went to Fossil Games. So if they suddenly were like, no, we're not doing it, you have to ask them. We didn't get a dime.
Yep.
So is that when you release this? Is it going to have? It's 2 games on one
cart.
Okay.
Yep, Sunshine Anthology is going to be Camp Sunshine, and the Kickstarter was for Sunshine Manor. And when we talked with them about the Kickstarter, we're like, oh, you know what? If we do it, we want both games. So both games have to be ported and running well, because that's what we're going to do.
JD's here.
Hey. Now the game we're about to show is up for pre-order now. This was one of my most... I'm so excited that we're doing this game. This is unbelievable for me. It's like a dream come true.
This is their 6th appearance, I believe.
Yes. I think... Wait, is it 6? I thought it might be 7.
Unless I missed one, because I do remember the 5-Timer Club episode.
Right up there with Tom Hanks and Steve Martin now.
Yeah, this is my 6th appearance. You're right.
You can call me Mr. Steve Martin.
Six time. 6 clever. So this game here is a dream come true. This is what we all wanted Nintendo to make after Mario Maker came about. And they never did. They still never released a Zelda Maker. For whatever reason, they didn't. And Fire Chick said, hold my beer. And they created something that is so detailed. I was blown away. Like, the amount of things you can do in this game it's staggering.
And people can make their own dungeons, upload them. Everyone can play them, right?
So you can make your own dungeons. You upload them. You have a code. You could share with your friends. You could play other people's dungeons, and if you like them, you could download them.
Wow.
So just on the internet. So right there, play community dungeons. So you got a board. You could see the ratings. You could see what's hot. So you could play them right from the server. And then if you like them, you download them so you can play them offline.
Wow.
Oh, that's a nice touch right there.
Very nice.
So how does it work? You just the game. I mean, playing it, the game is basically one dungeon at a time, or can people link dungeons together?
So there's no world maker right now. That's something that they would like to do, but they didn't do it yet. It's money. It's a small team. You're looking at Fire Chick. They're a small team, so they're doing an amazing amount of work for such a small team. So every dungeon you start off with just your sword and 5 hearts, and it's up to the dungeon master, whoever builds it, to give you whatever tools. Do you get bombs? Do you get the hook shot? Do you get the shield? Do you get like the rock's feather? Stuff like that. It's all up to the actual designer of the dungeon.
Wow.
This allows you to do things like those ice block puzzles that we all hate. You could do a whole dungeon filled with them. You could do, and like if you ever played Link's Awakening on the Switch, they had the Dungeon Maker in there, which was like Zelda Maker Lite, where you could take pre-existing rooms from the previous Zelda dungeons and build your own thing, but they were all square. This game allows you to draw the shape of the room. So you can make square rooms, you can make diamond rooms, you can make giant rooms, small rooms, it doesn't matter. You draw the shape. You choose what kind of door do you want. Do you want a standard door? Do you want a door that opens when all the enemies are defeated? Do you want a boss key door or a regular key door or whatever? You make it. You make traps. You can make it when you walk in, enemies spawn, and when you kill all the enemies, a treasure chest spawns. You can do all the things that you can do in 2D Zelda in this. And the cool thing that really blew me away. All that already blew me away. But then I realized you can make up to 7-floor dungeons. So it's not just the static floor. You can put stairs. You can make it so you can drop from one floor down to another. You start on floor 1, you can go 3 additional floors up and 3 additional floors down.
Wow.
It's like Spock Zelda.
Yeah. I think this might be the one I'm most excited for too, Barry.
Absolutely.
I love the artwork. You know, what's weird when I first saw this, I thought it was the team that did Bomb Chicken on Switch.
A lot of people did.
Because it's so well done. But then when I saw the name, I was like, well, that's not them. So this is cool. It's like a whole nother group.
Yep. And you do play as a chicken. Every time you do the roll, it caws, which is really cool. And the goal is to get a giant golden egg. So that's the end of the dungeon. But yeah, that's up for pre-order right now.
What's cool about those kind of games, like, you know, Mario Maker and then Super Dungeon Maker, is you can have, you know, you can be a person who likes to build and then play. You can be someone who just wants to play the levels.
Mm-hmm.
You can be someone who just wants to build the levels. That's
exactly
pretty cool.
It appeals to everybody.
Aspects here.
And this was our one more thing that we added in. So this is a game called Anuchard from Freedom Games. This is like another Zelda-style game, action adventure, with the humor equivalent of like the Mother series, and a killer soundtrack. Just a great story.
I like that little traveling thing where you hop in the crystal or diamond, or and you fly around.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool puzzles and different elements, and it's such a unique art style. And
I was gonna say, I really like this art style, especially the main character.
Yeah,
so cool.
I love one of the bosses. I think it's the last boss they show. I love the mechanic of how to attack them. Not this boss; it's the next one, I believe. It's just such a cool idea. This one, I love it, where the hammer comes down, you have to dodge out of the way, and then hit the hammer back into the boss.
Oh,
that's so cool. So yeah, this is a really neat game, and we're happy to be working with Freedom to bring this out. So this is part of Series 7. This is our first Series 7 title that we can actually talk about. Series 7 is stacked. Series 8 is stacked. We're signed well into next year.
really love my
Wow.
action RPGs.
So this is
In the
This-
past, how far ahead have you been laid out like that? Do you find that you're getting, as you're developing more and more and getting more into it, it's getting easier to line up the games ahead of time than you used to?
Yeah. When we started, we had Robot, we had Super Blood Hockey, and Pigeon Dev were our first three. We got Demon's Tier, and we had Cathedral, and I think we had Phoenotopia at the time when we did Series 2. I think that was it. Oh, and Sunshine, of course. And then we got like Mighty Fight, and we were doing it pretty much. We were signing by series, and then it started to explode, and people started to want their game physical, and they wanted us to do it because we go slowly. We only do a few games a year. It's it's something more special to get that treatment, and we still will shift things around depending. Like Super Dungeon Maker was one that I was like, oh, we got to get this, and that was actually going to be a later game, and they said, well, the game comes out May 3rd. We really like the physical to launch around the same time, so we said, all right, let's do it in Series 6. Let's go for it. So we will shift things around depending on the game that comes in and what the developers want, but we have been turning people away. We'd love to do your game.
That's great, but I mean that's the job that you guys are doing too. It reflects upon that. The people are now starting to come to you instead of you recruiting games. They're just lining up to see what you can do for them.
Well, that we really, we sometimes games are like, oh, we'll wait 2 years. We're fine with that, but we also don't want to hold on to a game we could sign till 2025, 26 right now, but then we're holding on to that game for so long. We don't want that. We want them to be able to get their game out. They want to get their game out sooner and start making money, sure. So we're not going to sign a game unless we're, it's like, look, this is worth grabbing, and we'll see what we could do. As for Go Game, Go Game, it depends. When are you guys going to present it?
Go Game.
It'll be a few more years, I think.
A few more years. That's fine.
It's in development.
I'd love to see that. That would be an amazing game right there.
Yeah. You can throw insults at me via Papa Pete.
Oh. I don't know. Do you think we'd sell 5,000 copies of that?
I've never insulted you in my life.
At least not in a way that I can't handle, right?
That's right. It was all Kylo Ren.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh man.
Barry, how big's your team now at Premium Edition? It looks like it's.
I think we're about 10.
Weren't you 3 when we first started talking to you?
Yeah, we started it as 3 of us at the beginning, and we've slowly expanded. You'll buy 5,000. You know what? I'll tell you what. If we can get that in writing, like guaranteed,
the money up front.
You know what we'll do? We'll also make it so that you get an exclusive slipcover that's only available in your 5,000 copies.
Right.
Only yours. If we do any extra copies, they will have a completely different slipcover.
It'll be EAP branded.
Yep. It'll be the EAP branded. But no, we started small, and we're still small. We still wear many hats, but as we've grown, we needed to do so. Like Jeff was doing all the design work. He was commissioning art for some of the games, like Super Blood Hockey was Sean Daly, and he was commissioning a lot of the different artwork. I only get free shipping to Canada. Nice. But as we started signing more games, it's a lot of work because it's not just the artwork, the manuals. All of our games come with manuals, so this had to be written. We don't repeat art unless it's absolutely necessary. We will do whatever we can to avoid repeating art. So we got 3 more designers now on our team. So we have four total designers, and they each do different things. Like Tristan does like the manuals, and Ryan does one thing, and John does another, and Jeff does another. So they're not like here's a whole entire game. They're doing bits and pieces of the different games, and that's just that. Our marketing team has grown. Even our customer support team has grown. They threw me a bone finally. So we've all been growing slowly. We just want to do right by the community. We want to do right by the developers and the digital publishers that we work with. And that's the main thing. We will do what we can to please everybody. And you know, is it always going to work? No, but we're going to try.
Yeah.
Have you had the thing I think is really cool is that we've been working with you guys on doing shows together.
Absolutely.
So much so that when I'm looking at everything, I'm like, yeah, we covered those games. We were there when these games came out in this way, and I think that's a lot of fun, and that's a neat thing for me to see to come along with you guys. And have you guys had some of your games that you've released again, re-released?
We have, yeah. So yeah, you guys have been there from the start, which is awesome because it's wonderful to go with the journey with you and like everyone in the community. But yeah, we have a Robot Named Fight got reprinted.
Okay.
And that's what the Steelbook edition is, which we have very, very few left on the website. We started doing what we call the first print and second print. So we're going to do different slip covers or different versions for new prints. So like Robot Named Fight's new printing is the Steelbook edition. It's got the exclusive O sleeve. It's got the Steelbook that was included in the retro and the deluxe edition. Same manual and challenge card, same cart. Still complete on cart, but it is a different version. So that is one. We're in the process of reprinting Phoenotopia Awakening. That one sold out. Cathedral is close to getting a reprint. So yeah, we order. Sometimes we've ordered extra right from the get-go, but we started to limit now with the first print. So we really want to give some incentive to those who do pre-orders, because we want them to have something unique.
Yeah.
You know, on top of like the dog tags, which is something we throw in for free. It's 100% free. No one's paying for it. It's just something we said, you know what, this is something we could do as a thank you, and that's really what we want. We want to thank you. You know, we have a new version of Demon's Tier coming out. We do also have our Gamers for Gamers variants, which is our charity variants. So we had Demon's Tier of that. We had Mighty Fight still coming out. Phoenotopia Awakening we had up. Cathedral we've had up. And those are charity versions. 20% goes to charity. And, you know, again, it's a different slipcover. We've done convention exclusives. So we had a Midwest Gaming Classic. We had a convention exclusive Cathedral. The year prior, we had a convention exclusive Demon's Tier. So those are just for the variant hunters. Those are little fun things we do because we understand, you know, it sucks when you get a game right at launch, right, and then it's suddenly like $30 or $20 and you're like, oh crap, but I got to play it early. So we want the early adapters because we're not changing the price unless it's like the Steelbook. It's a little bit more because Steelbooks are more expensive.
Right.
We want you to feel special because you are. Like, we want you to know like you were an early adapter. You have that first print slipcover. And we'll have to see what happens with Series 4. And Series 4 is in stock. So Wonderling, Rainier Parade, and Rack and Ruin are all now in stock, and they are shipping. Great games. We still have first print copies of that, and then we have Series 5, like we mentioned, Raji at the beginning. They're in production, and the carts are in. We're just waiting for the last few things, and we'll have those. Our hope is to have them, in a month or two, to have everything delivered, assembled, put to our shipping warehouse, and then shipped out. And then we still have PlayStation on the way too. We got some PlayStation titles coming. They're in production.
Wow.
So we got a lot going on for a small team.
Yes, you do.
I remember, was it the first, second, third, or some combination of that? I think you had some like a strategy guide for a couple of games.
Yeah, so we did the deluxe for Pigeon Dev Games Collection and Robot Named Fight.
Yep.
And our original goal was to have a strategy guide for each series. Each series was going to get one deluxe. Strategy guides obviously take time to write, but that wasn't the big issue. The big issue was our launch timing. So we launched in 2020. 2021, we got Pigeon Dev Deluxe in. And we had Robot done, ready to go on the ship. And in 2021, there was the whole port issue, which delayed Robot by about 4 months and had nothing, at least the deluxe version. It was out of our hands. We would send updates with people like showing like the West Coast, California coast with all the ships. If you remember those pictures of all the ships on the outside with like an arrow to one of the ship, it's like your deluxe edition is here. Because it was delayed so long, and people, what they did is they bought, all of Series 1 and 2 with the deluxe robot. So they waited a year for their games, and we hated it. And it wasn't that the games weren't in stock, because they were. It was because we were stuck waiting on this freight shipping. So it was a nightmare, and we said, let's try and limit what we do with the big books, because when you order 1,000 big books, you can't, like air would cost a fortune. Those are heavy books. So freight is the only way we could afford to do it. So that's why, like we're talking about Raji, the collector's edition is coming via freight. So we're trying to limit what we do, and when we know we're gonna do it, we try and get it ordered early. It's like Sunshine, when that comes out, that is gonna have a deluxe. We're gonna order that as early as we can. Raji was never planned to have the art book. That was the developers going overzealous on the assignment. That was us adapting to the assignment. So we couldn't really plan ahead, because it was literally like a few nights before that direct. Like we were I don't think it was even in the direct, now that I think about it. I'm not sure if the collectors did. I don't remember. It might have been, it might not. It was really, really short notice. I don't even remember if I put it in or not. So we had no way of ordering in advance. But like I said, it's on a ship. when it gets here, it gets here. Wow. That's all we could do. Welcome to the world.
Yeah. Now, do you have dog tags for all the games?
Yes. So we started doing the dog tags with Series 3.
Okay.
But then we went back and we put on our website that you could order Series 1 and 2 dog tags.
Oh, okay, cool. That's what it is. You sell them by the series. That's what it is, right?
Well, we haven't put any others up for sale.
Oh, okay. Because I'm looking at the 3 that you can get: the Robot Named Fight, Demon's Tier, and Pigeon Dev.
Yep, and that one comes with a free bonus as well. So if you order that one.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, those ones never had it, because we started doing it with Series 3. And it was just a free pre-order bonus. We wanted to get something out there, and we're continuing to do it. Our NES games get them as well. It's one of those where we whatever we can do just to be cool, just to do something cool for everybody. It's just something we love. It's free. It's a freebie. It's just a fun little free collectible,
And you can get these 3. It has it on the site where you can get those for $10.
Yeah, and that comes with a chain as well.
Yeah,
like I said, and there's a free bonus as well in there for all the people who order that.
I might have to order that.
Yeah, like it looks cool. Sometimes I'm going to the show, I'll wear all the dog tags, and it's just like, hey, check it all out. Every game gets them. I think I have. I had a Rack and Ruin here somewhere. Oh, here we go. Yeah, here's the Rack and Ruin one I happen to have near me.
Okay.
Wow.
Very nice.
And you guys even have a premium edition stainless steel flask.
We do. We do have a stainless steel flask.
What the heck? I might have to look at that.
We do. We have some fun little merch on the site.
That's cool.
Just little things. It's just people ask for it. It's like, hey, do you have this? Do you have this? It's like, sure. Let's do it.
It even comes with a funnel.
Yeah.
Wow. You can get it in red or gold, it looks like.
Is that all that's left? I think there were a couple other colors, but maybe that's all that's left now.
Brown and gold.
Yeah, this must have been waiting on shipments for new ones.
Wow.
Yeah, we've done the soundtracks as well. We got the NPCs. Oh yeah, red, gold, and brown. Yeah, all 3 colors are there.
What's your when you first started, and you did say you were into your first couple, what was your favorite soundtrack at that point?
Oh God.
Like,
that's tough. Super Blood Hockey's got a great soundtrack. Robot's got a great. They all have great soundtrack. Those are probably my first two, but then Cathedral, Phoenotopia, Mighty Fight have killer soundtracks. For Series 3, Series 4, I love the Rack and Ruin is like a metal soundtrack. It is a whole. In fact, our designer did the soundtrack in homage to Metallica, the Black Album.
Wow.
So if you look at the retro, the cover is done in homage to Metallica because it's a rock soundtrack.
Well, now you're also. It looks like you have a sale going on with. Which one is this? You can get the vinyl and the CD.
Yeah, those are just an album. So
Yeah,
that is the NPCs.
Yeah. Okay.
That is they're a rock group that does music based off video game music.
Wow.
And we did their physical album that you could purchase, the vinyl with the CD soundtrack.
Yeah.
You could actually listen to, I think, at least one of the songs on the pages for each of those.
Cool.
But they're not game related per se, but we did that. And we're like, let's help these guys out. They're a great group of guys, and we got that on the site for those.
Yeah. So you can get the vinyl and the CD for $40. Or you can get the vinyl for $30 and $15 for just the CD.
Yeah, so you save $5 if you bundle.
Nice. I love vinyl.
It's nice too. It's done like a Neo Geo style. Like the art is Neo Geo style.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I don't even have the vinyl yet. I have the soundtrack, the CD.
Yeah.
But
are either of those strategy guides available to buy separately?
Robot Named Fight was available.
I was just looking at it on the site.
Is it still available?
I think so.
If it's still, yeah, it is. Wow, that's an awesome guide.
Yeah.
That's still available. Pigeon Dev was never sold separately, but we still have deluxes, so you can buy the deluxe, which comes with the strategy guide for all 4 games, the Neo Geo shock box, the big slip cover to fit it all in, the retro box, which comes with that awesome steel book that's like the tube TV, the pin, the soundtrack, and obviously the game with all 4 games on the card. So that's still available too. We still have a few of those left, but they're all getting low. Like as more and more people discover who we are, one of the first things they do is, what previous games did they do? What's still in stock? And we get people come and they start buying some of our old stock because we have a lot in stock, but the numbers are not high.
Mm-hmm.
Like Blood Hockey is sold out. Pigeon Dev is close to being sold out. Demon Seer is sold out. Robot, we're down to the Steelbook, and we have like 100 or so left of those. They're almost out.
Yeah.
Cathedral, if we have any, it's very few. Phoenotopia, we're sold out right now. We have Mighty Fight, they're getting low. And then Series 4, we have a little bit more of because those just came in stock. Wonderling, DX, Rain on Your Parade, and Rack and Ruin. And we're noticing a lot of people have slept on them, and then they're starting to like, what's this? And they're playing it, and they're like, oh my god, like how did I miss this game? Like we're starting to do shows now again for this year because the holiday's over, and like Midwest Gaming Classic, I think we sold out of Rack and Ruins. Like people are like, I've never seen this game, and that game has my favorite Paul E. Niemeyer slipcover. Like that is just a badass slipcover, and just happy to be able to show people like all these great games that you probably never heard of, and give them a try. And still challenge cards as well. All our games still come with the challenge cards. We still have challenge patches. They are low with a lot of games, but we still have some.
Excellent.
I know
Barry,
Pete's been doing it.
I still haven't got Cathedral.
What was that?
I still haven't got Cathedral done.
You haven't completed it yet?
I haven't.
Oh, you got to beat the Necromancer. Come on, Pete.
I
believe
know.
in you.
You were playing that a little bit ago, weren't you, Pete? I think
I was. Then I just sort of, get off on other things, busy, and then it's like I got to get back to it.
Such a good game, Cathedral.
It is.
Pete, are you busy?
How busy could Pete be? Come on.
I was going to ask you, is that a giant yarn Yoshi amiibo behind you?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
that is. He didn't fit in my. Yep, there he is. Yep, same
Mine's
one.
right there.
Yeah, he wouldn't fit in my cabinet with all my other amiibo, so he just sits back there.
Yeah, that's what I
Yes,
did.
it is.
I put them out there.
I was going to say, when you're looking at your deluxe editions, that's a good thing to know, like, especially like right now where you're like, well, we're down to Steelbook on the robot named Fight, and then you've got your guide you can still get.
Yeah.
And you get those together, and it's about the same price as the whole deluxe edition, which has so many other things in it.
Yeah, I think it's $10 cheaper than the deluxe. So we're sold completely at a deluxe, and we're not doing more deluxes.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool to know, that.
Well, one of the reasons we did the guide for that one specifically separately is because the information on the internet, well, at the time was completely incorrect. I don't know if someone's ever updated the wiki using our guide, but Jeff sat down with Matt Bittner, who made Robot Named Fight, and they wrote the book together. So the entire book is 100% from the developer. Like his guidance, his information, because online the information was all false, because it's a very cryptic game if you don't know what's going on. So it's like the old school like NES days where you didn't know, or someone said, "Oh, I figured this out," and they tell you this weird thing to try, and of course it doesn't work because it was like a happenstance, but no one knew what was real, and you had those unofficial books that would be like how to win at Nintendo games with all these cheats, and like half of them worked and half of them didn't, and it was like that. So this guide is the definitive way to play the game, and it's honestly a better game with the guide because of that crypticness. Like there's shrines that you could give chips to, and depending on the combination of chips you give, you get different power-ups that can make your run easier. But if you don't know what the combinations are that do what, you could get a crappier power-up or not have any idea. So the guide really helps you, and people have been playing the game and asking for it. So we did a reprint because it's not needed, but it helps.
Right. Wow.
You got Coco.
I'm getting a kick out of that. She's
pretty good.
She's really wanting some attention.
Well, there you go. JWD has the little GoGameGo logo on the sword.
I love it.
Excellent.
Lion O. I love it. Oh man, that's great.
Barry, I know you're a big collector.
Yes.
What have you been collecting? Anything of interest lately as far as video games?
So I'm still doing the Switch set because I'm a masochist and I think I hate myself. But I've been trying to steer away from buying a lot of retro games lately, like unless it's a stupid good deal, or there's some real significance to the game, and instead try and shoot what I call museum pieces. I'm a big historian, and I love finding things I didn't know existed, and then acquiring them so I can learn the stories behind them and stuff like that. And so yeah, I've gotten a couple things. One of my acquisitions was a system for a console war that most people had no idea existed. Because if you ask people, console war, tell me systems that battled. Our age, most people would probably say Super Nintendo versus Genesis immediately. Older than us might say Atari versus Intellivision, and newer will probably say Sony, PlayStation versus Xbox, or even maybe Sony versus Sega and Nintendo for that short little bit. But there was another console war that very few people, if any, really know about, because it didn't happen on our shores. It happened only in Japan, and it happened with a specific genre of video game systems, and that is the educational video game systems. And I'm not talking like Leapfrog and stuff like that, VTech, the newer stuff, but older. Many people may remember, if they're Sega fans, specifically the Pico, the Sega Pico, which was their educational or early young kid system. But the Pico actually was at war and won against another system. Before the Pico actually launched, I think it was like a year or so, maybe 2 years prior to, another system came out from another big Japanese giant that wasn't Nintendo or Sony, but they also were big into video games. You probably know them because of a very particular code that most people can be able to say, just by mentioning it, and that's of course the Konami code. Yep, yeah, so Pete's doing it. And Konami actually put out a system called the Picno, which was an early educational system very similar to the Pico, and it was used little cartridges, and it did not do as well as they wanted. And Sega came out with the Pico right after that. So Konami actually rebranded the Picno as the Picno 2, which is like the same thing but cheaper components, trying to drum up sales, which failed, and they eventually lost the system and the wars. So I managed to get a complete in box Picno 2, which I had been looking for. And again, it's not one of those that's like, oh my god, this is amazing. But I love these quirky things of video game history that so few people know about. Because the Pico came out here, we know about the Pico, and then I also learned that the Pico actually had a sequel. There was a follow-up system to the Pico that never hit our shores called the Bina. And there was the Bina and the Bina Light from Sega Toys. Again, only in Japan. So I of course I had to get those as well.
Michael thinks you need a tutor vision then. You wanted educational. Have you ever heard of the tutor vision?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not big into early educational systems. Like there's a ton of Leapfrogs and VTEX. And I don't collect that stuff at all. But like in this case, it was like, well, I have the Pico already. Like this is interesting. It's Konami. I'm like, all right, let me get this. There's a really cool story behind that, and it wasn't anything like this other ones. It's like the Digit. I have a Digit. That's an interesting little handheld educational system that had games from like Star Wars and Sonic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like things like that, I'll randomly get. I think I have one Leapfrog that I got at a garage sale for $1. It's just sitting in a box.
Wow.
I was just looking through my Switch games and I realized I had 2 copies of Death Smiles 1 and 2.
Oh.
And I don't remember even buying both of them, but I do know why I did, because one was Japanese only, and it was a whole different case, whole different artwork.
Oh, okay.
And it was really cool. But it's funny, you buy some of the stuff and you find it later and you're like, what? Where'd this come from?
I'm a U.S. collector first, then I do U.S., then Europe, then Asia, then Japan, but it has to have English. And there's so many times I'll buy a game in Japan and then I'll get a U.S. release, and I'm like, now I got to buy it again and get rid of the Japanese cover and a lot. Like there are variant cover collectors that will get like the U.S., the European, the Asian, if they're different covers of the same game, and I'm like, no, I don't have the shelf room for that. Like no, if they're different games on it, sure, but no. Couple of V-Smiles, the games are fun. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with them. It's just one of those things where there's so much to collect, and space, as I always say, is the holy grail of any collector. Free space is more valuable than anything else. So it's just lack of it. And there's things I would rather put there. Like I think I have a few of them just sitting in a box, probably in my storage unit. It's like I have no room for these, but I do I really want to get rid of them? Like, I might put them on display one day. Throw them in there. I got them for $1. Got good old garage sales from yesteryear.
JD's made the comment about being in the older than us group.
Oh.
None of us said it. You said that. You said, Barry. Those of us, in our age group, would think of the Genesis versus the SNES, and I'm sitting there going, I think you're quite a bit younger than the other 3 of us, because we're more in television Atari era.
I was actually I'm not that much younger than you. If I'm right there with you. I'm close, but it's one of those where I was trying to make you feel good. All right, I was trying.
I appreciate it.
I was trying to compliment you.
We were trying to let it totally slide by, but really JD's comment didn't let it quite slide by. So
I was right there with you. I didn't have the Intellivision at first. I had the Atari and Commodore for me. I was an Atari household.
Yeah.
But
Well,
Atari 8-bit. I was
that
8-bit
truly
Atari.
is the first. After the crash, I mean, that's the first real competition. I mean, I didn't find that NES Sega was a
No.
Master System was a competition over here at all. I didn't even know about the Master System.
Same.
As a 20-year-old, which is when, I was 18 to 22, let's say. But SNES Genesis, yeah, that was a big decision. Which one am I going to get,
Well, the marketing, if you think about prior to the crash, I mean, Intellivision came after Atari pretty heavy with that console war. Very, very heavy. And then when the crash happened, people were scared of even releasing anything. That's why the NES was the NES and not a game system. The Master System didn't do anything here. Like you, I didn't even realize it existed. But when the 16-bit happened, Sega realized I guess they lost so much ground with the 8-bit that they're like, let's come out swinging. And Atari, who used to be kings, also did the same thing. Remember their do the math ads where they were like 16-bit and ours is 64.
Yeah.
Which is more? Do the math. And it was like, yeah, but your system sucks.
All you gotta do is look at the games on the Jaguar and be like, that's not 64-bit.
Yeah.
If it is, it's terrible.
Yeah, but they tried. I mean, and of course the Genesis does what Nintendo don't, and
that's awesome.
The wonderful Game Gear commercial where it showed a kid playing Game Boy. It's like, oh, to get color, you have to hit yourself in the head so you see colors, and it's like. It's funny, you think about back then, they're like, oh, we're being so aggressive to Nintendo, we're going to take them down. And look at where each company is now.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that Game Boy was something else, I tell you.
Yeah. Well, Genesis passed up the Super Nintendo at one point.
For a very brief time.
Yeah, because the Sega of America marketing was just so good. They
it really was.
Sega of Japan did not want to follow suit, and
the Genesis also launched before the Super Nintendo as well.
Oh yeah.
But that was one of the things, right? Sega of America and Sega Japan were always at ends with each other. Like that was one of the biggest downfalls to Sega. They didn't communicate.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what happened with the Saturn. I mean, that's all you have to say. Like the day the Saturn launched was the day Sega died.
Yeah, because what was Sega of America's president? Was it Klinsky?
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much what drove him out, was that launch of the Saturn, because he was not happy. I don't think they wanted to happen that way. And
Sega flooded the market too. I mean, yeah, the Sega Genesis, which was good, and the Game Gear, which was good. And then within a few short years, you had the Sega CD, the 32X, the Nomad, partnerships with Pioneer with the Laser Active, partnerships with JVC and the XI, partnerships with Iowa, the Mega Jet. Like, how many... the CDX, how many Genesis we had? Genesis 3, like all within a very, very short time. It was too much. And then of course, right after that, you had the Saturn, and the Saturn's botched launch by launching 6 months early where retailers weren't ready for it. They killed themselves. Just killed themselves.
Incredibly poor planning.
Oh, terribly. Terribly poor planning.
I wish so. I can remember that back in the day. Of course, I don't know. I was in a magazine or a mailing group, whatever, and I got the box in the mail one day, and it was a videotape, and it was all promotional material for the Saturn, all the different commercials and stuff on this tape. And I wish I still had that. I don't know whatever happened to it, but I had it for the longest time. But it was kind of a neat little thing to get from a gaming company. I mean, it wasn't like you could. It was like their own direct, right?
Yeah.
They put a videotape out to people. It was kind of neat.
But the Sega just was not. They got arrogant. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Sony did the same thing, right? The PS1 came out and they were really well. They positioned themselves really well. PS2 came out and they were on top of the world. So what did they do? They got arrogant. And what happened? They launched the PS3, which was a debacle. It took forever for the PS3. Yes, it came in second place, but it didn't pass the 360 until the very, very end. And then the PS4 is doing really well, so they got arrogant again. And the PS5 is still doing well, but their arrogance shows with things like the PSVR 2, where it's underperforming, and their ability to drop, peripherals. I mean, that's all Sony does. I mean, the Vita was just another thing dropped. The iToy was dropped. The Move was dropped. You know, do you even realize or have any memory of the PS5 that it launched? It came with a camera. Like, you could buy a PS5 digital camera, like a webcam, that serves no purpose. Like, I bought it thinking I was going to need it for VR, and it's still sitting on top of my TV, and I have no purpose for it. Like, why does this exist? Why did you release this?
Sit it next to your Kinect, Barry.
Yeah, that's about where it goes. But it's so Sony's being very arrogant right now. The whole thing with Microsoft, where they're trying to block the Activision deal, it's all arrogance. I don't know if you saw that thing with the patents that Sony did.
No.
So apparently, over the last decade, in all the patents that Sony has filed, or at least the majority of them, Sony has been privately throwing shade at Microsoft and Nintendo, where they talk about, like, oh, this could work for your gaming PC or gaming consoles like the PS2, the 3, the 4, even handhelds like the PSP and the Vita, and also some other, although inferior consoles. and it's like, we know exactly who you're talking about, and they made it so that part wasn't only in the document version, and they asked everybody to save it like as a PDF, and when you saved it as a PDF, those lines disappeared. So over the past decade, they've been privately throwing shade at Microsoft and Nintendo in all their patents that they filed.
What is the VIS system?
So the VIS was the video information system. It looked like a giant VCR. It's got some real classic games. Let me see what I have here, because I actually have and do I still have it? Oh, this is how random I am. You ready for this? Of all things to mention, how about the fact that I can actually get up and pull out a VIS controller? There's cool. Your controller.
I've never even seen this.
The VIS system.
Memorex.
Like, there's so few people can probably do that.
Wow.
But yeah, so the VIS. Let's see what classic games are on the VIS.
What time period is that?
Mid-90s, early CD, like the CDI, 3DO, that era. So let's see, the Memorex VIS. There's some real bangers on that thing.
Oh, that reminds me, Jeff. Retro Game Rescue gave me a call, and so they're going to be sending my TurboGrafx out to another company to see if they can fix the CD unit. But he mentioned that he might be looking at some Odyssey 2 stuff.
Ooh, nice.
So,
but they might have stuff coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, he wanted me to let you know that.
Oh, okay. Because I was just there about a month ago.
Oh yeah. Well,
they had nothing.
You got to go back or call them.
Yeah. Have you been to the newest location? It's it's very narrow. It's very small and very narrow, the little walkways. But they actually had, for as small as it was, it had a lot of cool stuff in there.
So which one did you go? Would they have a new one?
Yeah, it's like I don't know, it's off of 55 and Bayless or something.
Okay, I thought that's the one I went to. Is it at the end of the shopping center?
Yeah, very end. It's like right off the highway.
Yeah, by the liquor store there.
Yeah, it's very small.
Over by the liquor store.
I went.
So,
just happens to be by a liquor store.
So I'm looking at some of the games I have for the VIS. One that Stu would like, learn to play guitar.
Oh well, there you go.
Yeah. Then you've got other ones like definitely aged well, like Sail with Columbus. That's a good one. You've got Rainbow and Snowflake Search for the Sea.
Now that's interesting to me.
Timetable of History, Arts and Entertainment, 1993's edition. So there's your date. It's all educated. There's like links, the challenge of golf. So you got a golf game, but they're all like Atlas of U.S. presidents. It's all education, because if you remember, the CDI and the 3DO all had those because it was the early days of CD, and that was the way they got those systems sold, was you can use this also instead of your computer to educate. And the VIS was using that exact kind of way to get into houses and failed miserably, like so many others. How old is that system? Joke. In 1993. So yeah, like I said, that's a it certainly hasn't aged well.
I remember computers in the early CD-ROM. They all came with an encyclopedia on CD.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
always.
Yep. Yep. I have that too. American Heritage Illustrated Encyclopedia Dictionary. There might be. I got the CDI. Yeah. Yeah, the CDI.
Boy, JWD, you're on a losing streak there.
What's funny is the CDI was, not only was it marketed that way, but they actually marketed the CDI as a computer in terms of portables. You know, they actually released portable CDIs, which a lot of people don't know this because they weren't advertised to kids or even young adults. They were instead advertised to businessmen and business owners for them to buy portable CDIs to take with them on business trips and use for presentations, because it was cheaper than getting a laptop at the time. And they positioned it, hey, you can educational software, so you could use it for the kids, but mainly take it with you and do your show, your old PowerPoints, play them on a CDI, a portable CDI to showcase. And that's how they were marketed. And the funny thing is, one of the portable ones I got came from a dentist, and it still had like his dentistry presentation and stuff on there. I was like, oh my god, like that's so cool. Like I'm never getting rid of that. Like that's awesome. Because no one knew about it, like of the gaming populace, because it wasn't marketed towards us. It was marketed differently. It was how could we try and make money? And that period of time, it was like the early 80s, Atari, Commodore, they all competed with the computers, the IBM compatible, as we used to call them. That was it. The Atari 8-bit line was a computer line. The Commodore Amiga, the Commodore 64, they were all computer lines that played games. And this was almost like that coming back in the mid-90s. And then I think the Dreamcast was the last one that really kind of like doubled as a computer, if you will. And then they kind of said, no, we're just going to do consoles. Computers are cheap enough. We can't compete. Yeah, right after America was discovered.
Oh my gosh, Web TV. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Web TV.
I remember Web TV.
Yep. Yeah, Web TV was another one of those weird things.
Yeah,
that kind of reminds me, talking about all this. Another thing I picked up months ago now, but I had no idea that this existed, and it fascinates me that it does, because I had something like this as a kid. When old PCs, when CDs first came out, did you have the sliding door that push the button and the door came out and you put the CD in?
Yeah, you opened the thing up, dropped it in, and then slid it back.
Because my first CD drive was a CD caddy drive. Do you remember CD caddy drives? So before that belt-driven, drawer that came out that you put the CD in, was the CD caddy, and it was a little plastic case. It looked like a CD jewel case that you put whatever game you wanted in, closed it up, and you put that whole thing into your computer, and then you pushed an eject button and you ejected the whole thing. It was called CD caddy, and there was actually a video game system that used CD caddy technology before drives, and I had no idea this existed. And when you said Web TV, it reminded me it was actually the precursor to another system that we might have gotten briefly, at least in Canada, called the Amiga CD32. I don't know if you
yeah.
You know the CD32?
Yeah.
The CD32 had a precursor from Commodore, the CD-TV, it was called.
I don't recall that.
And it was, I think, only released in Europe. It used CD caddies. It played Amiga games, and a lot of Amiga games actually came where it said like playable on Amiga as well as CD-TV and some CD-TV and CD32. But yeah, I was like, oh my god, there's actually a console that uses CD caddies. I have to get this now. Like that's crazy, and it's got a really weird remote too.
I just realized you guys were talking about the cup holder on the computer.
Yes, that's the cup holder.
But that was actually for CDs. Okay, I get it. I get it.
I remember when that was a big joke at the time. Tell your parents it's a cup holder.
Oh yeah, and we remember the SideQuest. Yep.
Yeah, SideQuest.
And what was the other one? The
zip drives came along.
Zip drive.
Zip drives. Yep.
The Jazz drive.
Oh yes, SideQuest.
That Jazz drive as well.
Now, was there one that started with an I?
iOmega made
iOmega, that's it.
That made the zip drive, yeah.
Yeah.
The zip drive was actually supposed to come out for the Dreamcast. There was actually planned.
That's right, the Jazz drive as well.
I keep mine right here for when I
there you go.
Do a backup.
Wow.
Cable in case I need it, you know?
Yeah.
You retro son of a bitch.
I remember when I thought I was so cool where I had my parallel cable going into my scanner, which went into my flatbed scanner, which went into my zip drive, which went then into the printer, because they all had a piggyback because you had the one parallel cable. I'm like, oh man, this is so cool.
What did we have? We had like 100 meg discs for those, right?
Yeah.
You
zip was 100 meg.
Right in.
100 meg.
Good lord.
I actually bought it. It was on eBay. It was an eBay purchase too. I'm sure, like in the late '90s. An internal zip drive.
That's awesome. Zune.
Yes.
You know what? You had a Zune, which at least was functional. I had the Sony mini discs. Remember the Sony mini discs? I had those and thought I was like, this is great. I love this. This is so much better than an MP3 player. Yeah, boy, was I stupid. I still have my mini disc player too.
What the hell do you still do with any of that stuff, JD? Do you do anything with it, or is it just there for when other generations come through and go, what the hell were you thinking?
You know, I think that's one of the best part about collecting a lot of this older stuff is showing younger generations and watching their minds get blown at what we had to live through. Like, what? You had to get up to change the TV station?
You could only get 100 meg on every disc?
100 meg?
How
about when you show somebody a 3 1/4 inch CD and they go, "Oh my God, you 3D printed the save icon," and forget about showing them a 5 1/4 inch actual floppy disk. They'll be mind blown.
What about the floppies?
Good Lord.
That's an iOmega disc holder, and there's all my discs for it.
What the hell do you have that? What do you do with that?
Well, in case I need this right here is my tools disc. So in case I need any of the tools that I used to use, I have them right here in my 100 meg.
You're ready to go.
How often do you pop that in?
I thought it was pictures of me, Pete, your tool disc. I thought that's Stu's a real
It only holds 100 meg. It would take a lot more than 100
Damn
meg.
straight it would. Damn straight. You better get yourself a DVD for that.
This is so cool. Wonder what this would do if I hooked it up.
Would laugh at you.
Probably crash your computer.
Fire it up, Pete.
Not recognized.
But if I ever have problems, I got my iOmega zip drive Norton rescue disc.
Oh boy,
that's gonna help nobody. But you know,
is Norton still a thing?
Pete, do you have any America Online free disc laying around for 40 hours?
I may.
You can always use them as coasters, Pete.
Well, these puppies were expensive back then.
Damn
yes, they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then about a year later, CDs came out, and it was
curtains.
Zip drives weren't around for very long.
CDs destroyed everything.
Which is probably why you got all that shit for what, $1 or what? Are those yours, Pete? Did you buy those, or did you get those on eBay? You said.
Well, no, I later on I bought I had all these. When I bought a computer sometime or another, I made sure I got a zip drive and everything with it, or shortly thereafter. And these are discs that I always had. But on eBay, I bought an internal one as well, so you could have it. You know, you could have your 3.5 floppy right below it. There was your 100 meg iOmega zip drive. That was the freaking cat's ass at that time.
Now it's just an ass.
Your cat's looking at you like, what the heck?
It's like, wait, you say cat's ass? Am I facing the
Why,
right way?
why are you insulting my ass that way?
I thought I had my head toward the camera.
This is Games Disc 2, so I don't know what's on it. I gotta check it out.
For science, you need to plug this in.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
you need to make a video about that. What's on those? Unless
I
there's
don't know how
porn.
I'd ever check them.
Do you have a zip porn or anything like that? Or
You could do you could do an unzipping video.
Oh, I love it.
oh
The
yeah,
title alone will get you views.
yeah. Let's get that zipper
Papa
sound.
Pete's unzipping.
I got
Oh,
Games
unzipped
1
with
and Games
Papa
2,
Pete.
so
Games 1 and Games 2.
Unzipped with Papa's Peter.
You know another piece of technology that got killed because of this. This killed it. Remember Palm Pilots?
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
I have one.
Yeah, I still have mine too.
They were really cool.
They were
For a
great.
little bit.
And then the smartphone killed them.
Yes.
the black
BlackBerry.
I'll
Well,
put
BlackBerry
these back up
was
on the shelf for when
phone.
the next time I need them.
They'll be probably be dead by then.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll probably be 100 years from now.
Wait, are
Some-
those zip
some-
drives next to your Xbox collection, Pete?
What's a juxtaposition?
We need
right.
to do a new video where instead of pulling out the 3D tic-tac-toe, you pull out a zip disk and just show it to people.
Beside my 11 copies of Combat.
There you go.
That's up from 8, right?
Why do you have so many combat?
Why wouldn't you?
Why was
Shelf space. That's 10 more games you could get.
I
This
can
thing-
get enough of it. I went to I was at a big garage sale thing this weekend, and I was this game was in bad shape. It was a $50 game, and there was a couple of Atari games I thought I'd pick up too. And I said, I'll give you $20 for it. He said, no, make it 25. So after a couple of minutes, I finally realized that you throw in those 2 copies of Combat with it, I'll give you 25. Copies of Combat right there.
What game was $50 that you got?
Oh, I know. Last Ninja.
Oh, nice.
Not in good shape.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks a little sun faded.
Yeah, it's not in good shape, but for a third the price, it was fine. Remember, that's Canadian money too.
Oh, it's even better.
But I got an absolutely beautiful text and
and the artwork?
picture copy of Combat. So you can never have too many Combats.
I know. What is it? That's like me collecting copies of British Lions. That's really strange. I got like 8 or 9 copies of British Lions right now.
You know what you can do with that space instead of having those combats, Pete?
What?
You could have some more premium edition games put there in that spot instead.
I could, it's like get the right angle here. Right here.
Yeah, I see them. I recognize.
Looking games collections are right here.
I see the
I got a
retros.
couple other box sets, but I really got to expand on that a little bit. I really think I do. I can't wait for Raji to come, and I can't remember if it was. I think it was Rain on Your Parade.
Rain Your Parade.
Is the one that I thought I might pick up sometime.
That's
It's
so
still
much
available,
fun.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a blast. It's like Katamari Damacy.
plus Super Dungeon Maker that
Oh.
caught my eye, and then I rewatched the direct a while ago, and I had actually missed the first 5 minutes the last time, and I missed Wife's Quest.
Oh, Wife
Wife
is
Quest,
great.
just Wife
Wife-
Quest,
Yes.
and that looks really good too. I like that.
That is so much fun. A lot of people like joke about it, like, "Oh, but I already have a wife." It's like, no, it's the wife's quest. The wife is on a quest to save her husband from all the females that want him instead.
See, I'll buy it for Mama C for her birthday or for Mother's Day or something like that, and then it's great.
Mother's
Yeah.
Day, that'd be perfect, Pete.
Back here, that's
You know what? You could do that and say, "Aren't you glad that no one's trying to steal me from you? You don't have to do this." I wouldn't go with them. I you have nothing to worry about.
That's right. I don't want to give her
Oh,
any
you'd
idea.
have to explain all that after she got done laughing. But
Yeah.
honey, settle down. Okay, stop laughing anytime. Anytime.
A funny funny thing is, once we had that game signed, I was talking to a friend of mine, and unfortunately, he. That's great.
She was 10 inches. I only had 5 1/4, so I gave it to her 12.
But I was talking to a friend of mine. And unfortunately, he was just going through a messy divorce and all that. And we were just talking. I said, "Oh, by the way, got a game you absolutely have to play. It's a great game. It's perfect for you," because he loves those type of games. And he's like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Wife Quest." He was like, "I fucking hate you." And I realized what I said afterwards. I'm like, "Oh no, I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean you need to go get a wife. I meant, oh no, it's a great game. You'll like it because you like platformers." I was like, "Oh man, that was poor timing."
Whoops.
Oh,
CC Mental, I'll get you that Wife Quest game.
oh man, I love the innuendos with floppy disks here.
I know, right?
This is this is suddenly no longer for children.
No. AWD reminds me of Aerosmith with that one.
It's only dual 5.
No,
Apple.
pretty bad, eh? Christine, CC Mental, and Mama C are all getting copies of Wife Quest for Mother's Day this year.
Great.
I guess it'll have to be. I guess it's not out yet though. It's just going for pre-order.
Pre-order, yeah.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So actually, that might be even better because I think it might be more appropriate if they come out, let's say around Christmas time or a little bit after Christmas next year. We could all give them as Valentine's Day presents.
Yeah.
Oh, you could hold on to it for there you
That's
go.
right.
Well, Father's Day is in June, so
Yeah. You could say, "Honey, this." You don't see it when I go to work, but this is what my daily life is like. All these women are all over me, and I want you to know that you don't have to go through what Mia has to go through.
And
because I come home to you every night.
They all look like this.
Absolutely.
Just gluttons for punishments. All we are.
Scantily clad breastfeeding women.
I was just thinking of the old days with the 3.5-inch floppy that I think what was it officially? It was 3.15 meg.
Yeah.
But you could squeeze out more sometimes. You could.
Well, 3.5 was 1.44.
1.44.
1.44.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they were all standard 1.44. And that was a lot. That was enough.
And then they double-sided them or something like that. Made them high-density disk drives.
But you know what? They were great for like projects. You just put them in and put all your documents there. Like they worked. There was all the storage you needed.
Yeah.
Well,
I
It's
used to put computer
inconceivable.
programs on there. Yeah. When I got that computer I was talking about with the CD Caddy, the person I got it from said, we have a brand new hard drive for you. This hard drive is 2 gigabytes. You will never need space again. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my, 2 gig. Like, that's amazing. And now I look at it like 2 gig is nothing. What the hell?
Yeah.
How do we survive? My first computer had 4 megabytes as a hard drive space. Like, that was it. Total memory is 4 megabyte. Like, damn. That's not even a picture now.
No.
Yeah.
Right. Not even close.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just when you think you have enough space, then something you're doing doesn't even touch it. You can't even.
No, it's
Record day. Oh, thank you for reminding me. Very
store.
nice.
That's cool.
It's only $100. I can't do it. I can't do that. $100 for a vinyl.
JD's on the fence.
Yeah, well, that's a fence I won't jump. I won't do it. Jump. Van Halen, funny. Yeah, no, I can't do it. I still love finding bargains on vinyl. I did half price books here. Purchased, I think I was mentioning it last week, maybe. They had a bunch of sealed copies of stuff. Some of it was $5, some of it was $10, but Judas Priest. I don't know. It's several discs. I know.
See, now he's trying to upsell you.
I know, right?
What he's doing is he's on the fence and he's trying to get you to say, you know what, I'm going to go for it as reassurance for him to go for
You're
it.
right. That's a great idea, and I'm thinking about it.
There you go. You should go for that. Don't go over the fence. Jump over. In fact, I think I'm going to grab 5 copies just because of that.
Let me just knock you off the fence as I'm trying to jump over it. Well, they were saying though, I think it was the other day, they had the box set of the Beatles, and they had them at like Costco for like $50.
Nice.
And I was like, wow.
So, yeah, I love what he says now. 4 discs, $25 each. Like you're just trying to psych yourself up. You're trying to find the bargain in it. Like, right. Oh, you know what? $100 is expensive, but $25 each. That's much better. You know?
I mean, I'd rather buy brand new music if I'm gonna pay that much. You know, like some of the reissues of Iron Maiden. I won't touch those because I've got the originals. You know, but they want like $80 for a new Iron Maiden copy of Peace of Mind, which I've already got. And
for $5 more, you can get the NPC's vinyl on our website.
Right. See?
And that's new music.
That's 2 discs, right?
No, it's 1 disc.
Are you sure?
The vinyl? The vinyl?
Yeah.
Maybe it's 2.
I thought
mine hasn't come. There's a CD.
Yeah, the CD, but then I thought the discs were. I thought the vinyl was 2.
No, I thought it was only 1.
Oh, maybe it is just 1. Okay.
Yeah, it's 6 songs. I think it's just 1.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many. I don't know. If I'm going to do that, it's going to be new stuff. Trying to psych myself up to buy a new fence. Wow, yeah. A new fence. How are you buying a fence? We just put a new fence up with friends and family in the back, and it was great. It saved me a crap ton of money. So I guess I should shut my fucking yap and just go ahead and get the album now that I saved all that money.
Well, yeah, clearly.
I think you just talked yourself into it.
No, I still didn't. I got the new Angel album. I bought a Wayward Sons vinyl.
Oh, nice.
You know, Angels just released a new one, and then I had to buy a ticket for Zebra. And so, do I like the band UK? Yeah, Wet and
you say that 3 times.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird that we just had this whole conversation about old technology, and here we are in 2023 talking about buying new vinyl?
There you go.
Yeah, I know.
I'm holding on to those. In another 8 to 10 years, those zip discs are going to be worth a fortune.
Yeah. You know, I think we're going to go back to 8-track tapes.
No. That's the worst. That's the worst. Right next to radio. I mean, I shouldn't bitch about radio, but I still think it's silly. I only think it's silly how some people treat it. You know, like they sit there and listen to like 5 to 7 minutes of commercials at a time. Or the guy, when I was out riding my bike on Katy Trail, and there's a guy goes driving by in a red convertible car with a car ad blaring out. Yeah, come on down here. You got this, blah, blah, blah. And
well, like, when I'm driving in the car and there's commercials on the radio, I don't change the station. I just drive. Like
I can't do it. I can't do it. But I'm like,
sometimes it's just like commercials for some reason just almost seem like a connection to the outside world. To me,
sometimes
to a degree.
They're funny.
You know, it's like you learn what's around the area. I don't know. Maybe it's different down there, but I don't know.
No, for me, it's a connection I don't need.
Same with TV, because how did I know about all the cities around and stuff? What was from commercials and TV if I didn't go visit them? Oh, I know that store. Saw it on TV. And you don't have that anymore. I mean, maybe it's not the same. We have the internet, I suppose. But
well, you know, that's funny because a coworker of mine was talking about recently about how his kid was kind of mesmerized by live television the other day. They were watching the weather to try to, track the storm. And his kid was like, whoa. So this is like happening like right now because they're so used to watching YouTube or whatever, where it's a video.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it was just crazy for them to watch live feed.
I can just remember stupid things like watching when I was a kid. You'd watch certain shows all the time, even the hockey game on Saturday night. And there were certain companies in different places that restaurants and stuff around the province would advertise on it. And all of a sudden, 10 years later, you go and you say a restaurant, and they go, "Hey, I used to see about that restaurant on Hockey Night in Canada," stuff like that, or stores or whatever. It's like it was weird as a kid. I don't know. It's just, but it's totally different. You can't go back to that era. You can't go back to that mindset.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you get the nostalgia too for commercials, right? There's the commercials from our youth that we all watched, and whether it be radio ones we listen to or just ones on TV that just bring a certain level of like warmth, like you see the M&Ms and Sainta faint against each other. It's like, oh, this brings me back to a happy time back in my childhood. It's funny how that is. So I don't mind them as much, even though like if I watch any shows, it's usually DVR'd and I fast forward through all the commercials anyway.
Yeah.
Unless something catches my eye.
This is how wild it is. I didn't say the name of the restaurant when I did it. Scallywag, who's from here in my province, knows the exact restaurant I'm talking about.
Because I was like, wait a minute, he's there where you are.
Well, yeah, he's a couple hours north. This restaurant's 2 hours north of him, and I just never go to that town. And one day, hey, there's the Canard restaurant, which means duck, right? It's a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
And he knew exactly what I was talking about because they advertised at the same time at Hockey Night in Canada every day for years.
Wow.
Just neat things like that. You were going to one of the cities that you didn't go to once every 3 or 4 years, and there's a car dealership that you've seen 1,000 commercials for.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So,
and when you see that as you drive by, it's like, oh, I know that place, even though you've never been there. It's like I know it because you've heard the commercials so many times.
Yeah. Agreed, exactly.
That's when you pull over and take a picture at the place, Pete.
Yeah. What the hell are you taking a picture of the car dealership for? It's the friggin' McDonald's Pontiac.
You know what? You can do a whole new series of taking pictures next to places and then showing the commercial and then you next to the place. Like I went out and I found it. Like a celebrity.
Yeah.
And do it with like local crappy ads and stuff, which I'm assuming you have local crappy ads in Canada.
Oh, we all do, yeah.
And be like, look, I found the local crappy ad place. Yeah. Can I get your autograph, Mr. Building?
Mr. Building. Well, somebody mentioned, you guys mentioned the 8-tracks, and I have mine. There's my
oh, nice
8-tracks over there. So everything from Black Sabbath to Kiss to Jethro Tull and Iron Butterfly, Rush, Styx, Three Dog Night, The Who, Pete Townsend.
Now, let me ask you, Stu, when was the last time you popped one of those bad boys in?
Oh, it's been a while. It's been a while. Because those, the 8-tracks have a lasting nostalgia to me. I mean, my brother bought, he had a, what did he have? A 69 Mustang. And in it had an 8-track player. And with it, we got a case of 8-tracks to go with it. Some old Steve Miller, like old Steve Miller before the Joker and all that stuff. So I still have those over there. Beach Boys. I got a bunch of Beach Boys over there. But, driving around in that car and playing that 8-track was great. But, there's the flaws to the 8-tracks. When you play the shit out of them, then you start hearing between the songs. And sometimes it was just, and of course the classic is when it stops in the middle of a song, and then it starts up again. It's wicked sick. Judas Priest. I've got Judas Priest over there. That reminds me because I think the Ripper did that on Sad Wings of Destiny. I think that was how I had Judas Priest first. I have Hellbent for Leather, Stained Class, and Sad Wings of Destiny over there. So, because I just had to have them. I remember flipping through them in the store, with the long box, flipping through 8-tracks. And I'm like, Judas Priest, I got to get into this. So that's how I got into that.
Somebody threw up the picture on our chat there earlier this week, guys, about the 8-track adapter that you could plug a cassette into. And I remember like having one of those. It wasn't actually. I think I did have one because I had an 8-track player, but there was one that was just perfect. Everybody had 8 tracks in their dash, and you'd stick that into the dash. Then you could put a cassette into the adapter. It was so cool. And man,
I used to have
awesome.
not that, but my first car only had a cassette player. So
Yeah.
when CDs were the big, I had the Discman, and I had the cassette adapter that I would plug in
Yeah.
to my Discman, and I used that so much that in between songs, all I heard was like of the wheels of the cassette spinning because it was played so much that it was like squeaking and dying, but it didn't matter. That's all I did. And every time you hit a bump, because they didn't have the shock proof, your song would skip.
Yeah. Oh yeah, if you hit a bump, it would skip. Yeah, we bought this special case. Like there used to be, I don't remember what the company name is, but you used to go in to be able to buy your CD flip cases and, and all that stuff, right? And there's a special one to put your portable DVD player in to do stuff like that. So, oh my god, yeah. And it was supposed to be just cushiony enough, but some potholes didn't matter. Bang, and your CD was skipping.
Kids will be listening to this and going, "My God, I missed a lot before I was born."
Man, that costs a lot of money.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Adapters were $30-$40. It seems to be the back of the time, and then the portable CD players were not cheap.
Nope.
Which reminds me, still owes Columbia House for all its age. We were kidding about that not long ago, right? People who paid for their stuff on those.
Oh, I love those.
I
got a lot of CDs with those. We had to take the little stamp and you lick the stamp, put it on there.
Yeah.
And VHS, they used to do the VHS ones too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, my dad bought a 76 orange Trans Am when I was a kid.
Of course.
I think it was awesome.
That
you're a family man.
The ultimate family car.
Yes.
You have to have one.
Had the bird on. It was beautiful.
Where is it now?
Long gone.
Aww.
I would love to get another one. That'd be awesome. I never see a Trans Am ever.
Yeah, I don't see them on the road often.
No.
I don't know if they're just weren't well made. I mean, you don't see any of them anymore. I mean, they're really old though. I mean, you're talking like the 70s to now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, guys, should we hit it here? We're
past
time. Pete, come on, you're letting us down. You only got to go.
Well, I wasn't trying to push it. I was just giving you the option to start it.
Pete's like the band in at the Academy Awards. Like, whoa, I guess it's time to go.
I thought you might want to do one last recap. Let everybody know about Preview Edition games and all the great titles you have coming out.
Do it.
All right. So, you want me to do that, or Jeff, you want to do it?
No, go ahead. You'll do a better job than me.
You won't make the mistakes that we'd make.
Do it like an 8-track. Stop in the middle and then ka-chunk, and then you can start again.
Okay. So right now, if you go to premiumeditiongames.com, you could pick up ka-chunk. Super Dungeon Maker is available right now for pre-order. You do not want to miss that. It is unlimited Zelda dungeons where you can make your own levels, play a bunch of community levels, and just have a lot of fun. It's what we wanted Nintendo to always ka-chunk make. And then we have coming up in next week or in 2 weeks, we have Wife Quest coming out for the Switch up for pre-order from East Asia Soft. That is a 3D or a 2D retro platformer with RPG elements where you have to pretty much go and save your ka-chunk husband from all these women that just want to take him away from you. So you really have to save the day. So make sure to pre-order that. We've got standards and retros for both of those. Following that, in 2 weeks, we've got a great NES game coming out called ka-chunk. Bobby 6-7 Time Traveling Detective. This is a retro platformer for the NES, playable on the NES. So make sure to pick that up. On top of that, we've got a Kickstarter live right now for Poglings, where you can get the Kickstarter exclusive copy, only available right now, as well as the Kickstarter exclusive plushie. They're on Kickstarter.com, so please check those out and support ka-chunk, Chad Tronick and his dream. And we have wonderful stuff coming out after that. We've got great stuff in hand. We've got all of our Series 4 titles in hand right now and shipping We've got Series 5 almost out, then still finishing production. We still have some great stuff from Series 1 to 3 in hand right now. So make sure to pick those up, including the MPC vinyl album, since we've talked a lot of music. And you can find all that ka-chunk at premiumeditiongames.com right now.
Awesome.
The 8-track presentation brought to you
Very good.
by Barry.
Had to do it, right?
And they're beautiful games, guys.
Yes,
Oh
They're
man,
love
beautiful
those retro
games.
boxes.
Look at that Super Nintendo-like Phoenotopia.
I love it.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's sold out. That is gone. The retro Phoenotopia.
I knew
is
when that came
awesome.
back up that second time, I missed it. I got that's the first time,
Cathedral's
and I
so
just
good.
something told me that was the one that was not going to be around for long.
Yep,
right there,
and
so.
sold out. I love those retro boxes. I love how uniform they look all on the shelf together.
Right.
Every one of them.
I was a little thrown off, Barry, at first because of the different style. I don't know if you hear me. Because of the different style, I was thinking that the Super Nintendo style might be different than the other style, but it's not. It's the exact same size box.
Same size. It's
just
the
a
Super
printing
Nintendo and the N64 size box. But it's they're all the same. But we do some horizontal and some vertical because it's more like an NES game or more like a Super Nintendo. The new one, Rack and Ruin, which just came out, has actually an embossed logo, so it's actually you can feel it. And look at that, you're talking about Super Nintendo style. Since the game is like a Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past meets Invader Zim, so I don't know, the embossment kind of shows there. You can
there you go.
Yeah, you can see it's raised.
Wow.
But yeah, I love that. That just came out so good. And then the actual standard, which again is one of my favorites, if not my favorite, slipcover art. I just love that art.
That is incredible.
From Paul Enemeyer. Just such cool artwork.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's in stock right now, Rack and Ruin. So definitely check those out.
Wow.
All right. Well, thanks, Barry. Let me get. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah, thanks for coming by again. And yeah, everyone check out premiumeditiongames.com.
Yep, you won't be disappointed. That's for sure.
Thank you so much again for having me. It's always fun. Like you said, this is the 6th time, and I look forward to many others.
Yeah,
I love the support. So thank you guys so much for the support as well.
Yeah, we'll have the Sexy 7 return next time, right?
Yes, absolutely. The Sexy 7, I love it.
Sexy 7.
As long as I saw someone in the comments say, "Don't show those pale white legs again." So you gotta show
Barry.
You gotta show them next time for the Sexy 7.
Damn, Barry, I was just gonna say something about that. That's my buddy Mike out in California. Smart ass.
See? Great minds think alike.
He was even talking about my oral surgery I got to get done. He and I are doing the same exact thing.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was nuts. I went in today and had more done. So, not just stuff, but yeah, we're both having the exact same teeth replaced. So we learned that about each other in Nashville last year. It's so weird. So weird.
But, it's always a fun time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I
gotta love
it a fun time. It's fun. Yeah. Go sit in a chair and have them beat the shit out of you.
Hopefully, at least with Novocaine.
That's right. And don't forget the nitrous.
Got to get the nitrous.
Oh, good God. My wife pointed me in that direction, and I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you. Because you just sit there in this little cloud, You're not waxed out of your mind. You're just like, okay, I don't care. And then the attendant there at the end of my first thing says, oh, you were even playing air guitar. I said, no, I did that on purpose. I knew what I was doing. I just do that.
And then when they take it off of you, the effects are gone like right away. It's so weird.
Yeah.
No You're lasting.
Like, oh, I'm okay. You can drive home. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Here we roll then.
There we go. Thanks a lot for watching, guys.
Thank you. Thanks Barry. Appreciate it.
Thanks again.
Good having you here.
Have a good night, everyone.